Let me start off by saying that when the whole release of the Snyder Cut thing started, I wasn't really on board. You know, I didn't necessarily like the Joss Whedon version. It was an overall mess. It really was. But I just didn't see Warner Brothers releasing the Snyder Cut. You know, people were saying, including Snyder, that it was finished, It turns out it wasn't, as we learned. But, you know, in 2020, and amid all the nastiness and the disasters and all this insanity, we got news of the campaign worked. We were going to get the Snyder Cut. So it was actually kind of exciting because it's something I honestly did not expect. And it's a completely different movie. Absolute polar opposites. Whedon's version, you can tell he pretty much reshot the whole movie. Very little of what Snyder did made it into Whedon's version. Zack Snyder's Justice League opens up big with the climactic scene of Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, which I'm in the minority. I enjoyed that movie. Did it have its problems? Absolutely. Was it too long? Probably. But overall, I enjoyed it. Mostly the Ultimate Edition because it put back in scenes that we needed in the movie. Anyway, you know, Superman's death scream is heard round the world apparently, and it woke up the mother boxes. That's why the mother boxes are awake. Seems kind of weird, but we later learned that the mother boxes were afraid of Superman. So now that he's dead, they're waking up, they're signaling Darkseid, Steppenwolf, and shit's about to go down. But before all that, you know, we see Wonder Woman in action. I think it's a bank. It looks like a bank. You know, these guys go to blow it up, and there she is. She's kicking ass, taking names, and she's Wonder Woman. Gal Gadot was seriously the perfect choice to cast as Wonder Woman. She has embodied the character. Not too long after that, though, we get the first look at Steppenwolf as he shows up on Themyscira to get one of the mother boxes. And oh my god, does he look so different from the Whedon version. They changed him completely. He looks so much better. Like, so much better. His overall fight with the Amazons, Queen Hippolyta heading the charge, it was actually pretty badass. You know, the Amazons, they weren't in incredibly skimpy outfits. Some of them kind of were, but, you know, compared to the Whedon version, where they were pretty much stripped down to no armor, it's like, these aren't the Amazons. And while we did have a few slightly scantily clad ones here, they had armor on. They were the Amazon. It just looked much better this time around. Down under the sea, we're still getting that weird fucking talking bubble that they introduced in the Whedon version. It's like, you know, it's been how long since James Wan's Aquaman came out, and he completely ignored that. He got rid of it. They were just talking underwater. Why couldn't they just do that? It's a small gripe overall, but it's like, really? Like, Wan established that they can talk underwater. They don't need this giant bubble that gives air. We are soon introduced to Darkseid, Darkseid's right-hand man, and it is pretty damn cool to see him come to life in live action. Seen him plenty of times in the comics, seen him in the animated movies and shows, but never live action, so it was great to see him come to life. Not too long after that, Wonder Woman gives us a bit of a history lesson. We learned of the ancient battle, which we did see in Whedon's version, but Whedon's version started out the movie, and it was kind of a mess. It was like I don't know how to describe it. It was a mess. Here, it's a little more focused. You know, we don't just get the groups just mashing together. We get everyone working together. Man, the Amazons, Atlanteans, the gods, Zeus and Ares. But everybody was working together, and they defeated Darkseid. And in true Zack Snyder style, there's blood everywhere. It wouldn't be a Zack Snyder movie without stylistic blood just splurting everywhere out of somebody, and in this case it was Darkseid when he got hit with Zeus's giant axe. So that was kind of cool. We are also introduced to a few new characters, including Iris West, who is diminished to just a quick damsel in distress. Damsel in distress. There we go, I can talk. A cameo role. So it was a little disappointing, but it is great to know that the actress is coming back for the Flash movie, so it'll be good to see her be able to actually play the character instead of just being written off as a quick cameo. We also see Ryan Shaw, who in the comics is the current Atom, and he had actually a much bigger role than I anticipated. I kind of figured he would just kind of be there and he wouldn't really do nothing. Turns out he's right there alongside Silas Stone at Star Labs. So that was cool. We also see the second live-action version of the Martian Manhunter, the first being on Supergirl. And at first, it's literally just a quick throwaway cameo. He visits Lois, disguised as Martha Kent, and it's just kind of creepy. I'm probably in the minority here that actually loved Ben Affleck as Batman. For me, he was Batman. He acted like him. He fought like him, which is something we very rarely got in live action movies. We don't see Batman fight like Batman. We do here. We see in the tunnel fight where he's using actual strategy. He's using his gadgets. He's using weapons. That's what Batman does. He just doesn't charge in and start punching. About midway through, we get a quick glimpse of the Nightmare again, and a glimpse of dead Green Lantern being Kilowog. At least it kind of looked like Kilowog. So it's interesting to see that they are continuing with this Nightmare, though we knew that in the trailer with the appearance of the Joker in the Nightmare. But it makes you think, like, is this real? Is this actually a premonition? Is this just an actual nightmare? Is it a dream? What's going on here? Also, during that nightmare scene, we get to see Darkseid's Omega beams, which was actually pretty cool. It was very well done. The effects were, I'm just gonna say it again, very well done. Superman's big return, I felt, was more emotional here than it was in the Whedon version. For me, it just created more feels than it did in the original 2017 big screen version. And of course, there's Black Suit Superman, who was almost the first live-action version, but we actually saw Taylor Hoechlin, if I'm saying that last name right, in the black suit. So they actually beat Justice League to it. But nevertheless, it's awesome to see this black suit introduced into the movie universe, even if this ends up not being canon for sure. Probably one of the most badass shots, at least in my opinion, is during the final battle with Batman and the Batmobile speeding down the streets of Pip Rep with Cyborg, Flash, Aquaman running, flying right alongside him. That was just so fucking cool. And again, Batman is fighting like Batman. He knows he's up against these interdimensional beings. He can't just fight them, so he's using the car, the Batmobile. He's using his gadgets. He's using weapons that he finds around him, the parademon guns. This is what Batman does. He uses his surroundings. He doesn't just go in punching. Superman's big return to the battle itself, I felt, was more impactful this time around than it was in the 2017 Whedon version. It's kind of, I can't really describe it. It might just be the black suit that just made it more impactful. I don't know. It felt like it had more meaning. Now, something I definitely did not see coming was the Justice League failing. They failed. The mother boxes merged to create the Unity. And oh shit, the Nightmare is about to happen. But Barry uses his speed to go back in time, and just enough to, put their plan into motion, and they tear them apart. We don't get superhero movies very often where the superheroes actually fail to save the day. So that would have been interesting if they actually continued with that and actually went straight into the Nightmare. But, superheroes gotta save the day. That's what they do. And as we discover, the Nightmare is actually initiated by something completely different. And we get that in the epilogue. But first, we get almost the same scene of Deathstroke showing up on Lex Luthor's yacht. But instead of just going, we're just gonna create a league of our own, he just gives Slade Wilson Batman's real name, Bruce Wayne. And to me, that's perfect. It leaves it just ambiguous enough that it could mean anything. But then, the Nightmare returns, and we find out that, I don't necessarily know if they're the new Justice League, but they're teaming up. Batman, Cyborg, Mira, Deathstroke, The Flash, and Joker. They've teamed up for the greater good to fix what, apparently, Batman fucked up. From what it sounds like, the death of Lois Lane is what initiated this. Is what initiates the Nightmare. So maybe Lois dies, Superman leaves Earth, Darkseid comes back. And I will say, I wasn't big on Jared Leto's Joker in Suicide Squad. We didn't really see enough of him, really, but here he was absolutely amazing. The conversation he has with Batman is the best. That's the Joker we should have gotten in the first place. That is Joker. But hey, that's a dream too. Or a nightmare. Or a premonition. Bruce wakes up and all of a sudden there's Martian Manhunter. He's like, oh hey, I'm going to join the fight. I'm going to join you now. And then he flies away. And that's the end of the movie. Overall, Zack Snyder's Justice League is, I'm going to use the word, leagues ahead of the 2017 Joss Whedon version. It's beautifully shot. It's well acted. For me, Ray Fisher actually surprised me. He was not great in the Joss Whedon version. He was actually he was damn good here. His story, his part of the story was, honestly, I give it an A+. The CGI to make him was still not great, which is a little confusing because Darkseid looked amazing. Desaad looked great. Steppenwolf looked better. How does Cyborg still not look good? I guess it is what it is. In 2017, that Justice League, at best, maybe a 1 out of 5. But Zack Snyder's Justice League, between the Easter eggs, the acting, cinematography, the effects overall, it's the Justice League movie we should have gotten in the first place. It's the Justice League movie that the fans deserved. 4.5 out of 5 stars. It is really that good. I will say this though, with all the teasing of the Nightmare and Martian Manhunter showing up, they clearly set this up for a sequel, and it sucks because we're probably not going to get it. Warner Brothers is not going to want to admit they made a mistake by bringing in Whedon. Well, I guess they technically already did because they greenlit the Snyder Cut to begin with. But they're not going to want to admit further. Their 2017 version is dead. Because it is. Because it should be. This movie should be canon. This is Justice League. We need those sequels. Whether they're on the screen or even in comic form. We need them. This story needs to be continued. It needs to see its ending. Zack Snyder not only deserves it, we as fans deserve it.